As people say, a canvas is a place where man can openly express his most profound thoughts and feelings. Today, I took out an empty canvas, as on any normal Sunday afternoon, with the intention to make another painting. But unlike my usual Sunday afternoons, this specific Sunday was somewhat different. It was as if I felt more inspired to paint than ever before. My eyes were suddenly fixated on this canvas, and with a deep breath, every memory of my life flashed before my eyes. But the one that stood out the most was that one Sunday that changed everything. It began with a typical Sunday morning, with my son Carlos enthusiastically playing his favorite sport, basketball.
Hey Dad, check out this shot.
Nice shot, kiddo. A little more practice, and you can be the next LeBron James.
Hurry up, you two! Almost time for lunch!
We'll be right there, honey.
Mom! Dad! You're not gonna wanna miss this legendary shot.
Alright then, show me what you got.
Boom! Perfect!
Great job, son!
Now that was one for the history books. You see, every Sunday was my son's rest day, but on that specific Sunday, we allowed him to practice his basketball. You can hear the rhythmic thud of the ball bouncing and the loud squeaks of his new pair of shoes. To anyone else, these sounds would merit no reaction, but to me, there is almost no sound quite as precious. As laughter filled the air, Carlos made his so called legendary shot and hit a 3 point mark. But then, in an instant, the laughter was replaced by fear as he suddenly collapsed.
Oh my god! Carlos! What happened?
I don't know. Call an ambulance.
I could still remember it as if it was yesterday. The joy on my face faded into shock as I panicked over my son's sudden collapse. Could this be dehydration? Heat stroke? Or something worse, like an aneurysm? These were the thoughts going through my head as I applied first aid to my son while waiting for the ambulance.
Sir, ma'am, what happened to the boy?
We don't know. He was just playing basketball and he suddenly collapsed.
Let's get this little man to the hospital ASAP.
The trip from my home to the emergency room was one of the most anxious moments of my life. Doctors came and went, all trying to assess my son's situation.
Good day. I'm Dr. Rivera and I'm the doctor assigned to your son, Carlos.
Yes, we were hoping you could tell us more about his condition.
Well, your son's condition is something we've really never seen before, although we have noted that this virus does seem similar to the 1969 Amonga flu. And it's good that I've heard that your husband is a pharmaceutical scientist. Is this correct? Maybe he could have some insight on this case.
Yes, doctor. I have seen cases in the past which are similar to this one, but I'm sorry as I'm also quite confused as to what my son has. Though there are similar cases, this is still something almost entirely new.
Yeah, about that. Your son has been infected with a virus that almost no one has seen before. He's probably one of the first dozen cases of this virus in the entire country, with that number steadily increasing every day.
Well, what do you know about the virus?
Well, the only thing that we know in the moment is that this virus affects children 12 years old and below, most commonly those who are in pre-adolescence. But usually, once a child hits puberty, they develop the necessary immunity for this virus. So for them, it's not really anything of worry. But for your son, who's only 9 years old, it's quite unfortunate for him.
Is there anything I can do to help him get better?
The best thing you can do in the moment, I guess, is pray that somebody finds a cure. But in the meantime, don't worry, as the hospital will see that he's well taken care of.
Time passed by, and my son was still unconscious. Surrounded by the endless sound of monitoring machines, and the numerous doctors who were tending to different patients. The disease had spread with a surprising growth rate of 5% per hour, which made the situation very alarming. The desperation to see my son conscious again ignited something inside me. I was, and still am, a pharmaceutical scientist. I couldn't take best thing you can do is pray that somebody finds a cure as an answer. I knew that I had to take matters into my own hands. Countless days and nights were spent inside my laboratory. Test tubes and vials filled the room. After several attempts to find an efficient cure, I finally created what I believed was the cure. Where's Carlos? I found the cure for the virus.
Wait, sir, are you sure? I don't really want to be responsible for any of the side effects.
Doctor, I love my son more than anything in the world. He is the air that I breathe. I can't get through life knowing that he lies here, unconscious from this virus.
Well, you are a pharmaceutical scientist, so I leave the decision.
I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Administer this cure at once. At that moment, my heart was pounding from a mix of fear and hope. I waited for hours after they administered my cure. I waited through that night, just praying and hoping. I waited until the next morning. Dad! Dad! Wake up! Carlos? I can't believe it. You're finally awake.
Thank God, Carlos, you're well again.
Dr. Nevera, come in. My cure has
It's
worked.
a miracle, sir. You've just saved countless lives.
The cure had worked. My son's laughter once again filled the dull room. At last, my creation was a ray of hope for those with the same disease as my son. I then sold my creation to a pharmaceutical company. Numerous tests were again conducted on my cure to prove its efficacy. Again, it proved effective, and let's just say, I never had to worry about money again. Years passed, and I gained more things from this discovery. But despite this, I yearned for simplicity. After my son graduated college and found a job, I chose to retire and live a quieter life, where I could now indulge in my love for painting, along with my wife. The canvas was where my story lay, where my emotions were formed. And now, 20 years later, here we are. This painting is the story of my life, an abstract work that people will interpret in different ways, but to me, this painting will always show my tale of terror and triumph. The moment you give up on something is the moment you lose. So always keep a fighting spirit. Face your fears head on, and you will come out stronger. So the moral of my story? Never give up.